Bonjour and welcome back to Monaco for the 9th round of Season 9 of ABB FIA Formula E's World Championship. An hour after the first practice session, it's time to get going again for free practice 2. Sun has risen, track temperature 21 degrees, air temperature 20 degrees, and it is a beautiful sunny day here in the Principality. Well, the royal family watching on as well from their castle just above the circuit as well. A royal family occasion back in the UK as well, as preparations underway to crown King Charles III. And the royal principality underway here as well. This is the calendar. Mexico, Dublin, Diriyah, then Hyderabad, Cape Town, Sao Paulo, Dublin, Berlin. That's 8 rounds completed. Then we go to Monaco here for Dublin, Jakarta, Portland, Rome, doubleheader. Then we go to London, doubleheader. The season ends on the 30th of July as well. It'll be one of the fantastic races we're coming up for there. Meantime, in the Championship of the Drivers, they all came in this morning looking feisty, looking ready as well. A few of them as well, a bit needing some coffee to wake up. It was a very early start here as well, 7:30. Now we've got a 9:10 start for the second practice session before we get into qualifying later on. Let's go over to Jack Nicholls then to take us through all the standings for the Drivers and Constructors Championship, and then hear from Pato O'Ward about the track.
As far as the championship is concerned then, it is Pascal Wehrlein who is leading it on 100 points. 4 points clear of Nick Cassidy, with Jean-Eric Verne in third, Jake Dennis in fourth, Evans in fifth spot, and really, maybe Buemi is still in the title fight in eighth place. We've got a long way to go, but it feels like a bit of a stretch. Certainly somewhere of the top 5 feels like where the champion will come from this season. Everybody has scored points so far this season. Only 26 points for Stoffel van Dorn, the reigning champion. Max Günther picked up all of his 24 points last time out in Berlin. 2 points for Nico Müller for a 9th place finish, and 3 for Robin Freitz for pole position. I mean, the apps are off the mark, so all the teams have scored points as well. Tag Heuer Porsche at the top of the standings. My name is Jack Nicholls. I'm delighted that with me for commentary is the man who collided with Luca Badoa in the final of the 1987 World Karting Championship, Dario Franchitti. Dario, what a circuit we have here. It needs no introduction, but take us round anyway.
Exactly, it is the most famous street course in the world, Jack.
Dario!
Here we are. It is just the most incredible track. 3.37 kilometres. I'm not going to use the corner numbers like Oliver. Saint-Devote, heading off up the hill through Beau Rivage up to Massenet. Such a long entry there. I expect a lot of action at that point this afternoon. Through Casino Square, down the hill to Mirabeau, into the very famous hairpin, down to Poitiers, through the tunnel. Heavy braking for the new Nouvelle Chicane, as you call it, Jack. To back, very difficult corner, get close to the barriers. Through the swimming pool section. And then you come down to Rascasse, through Anthony Noakes to end the lap. And you're going to have to absolutely thread the needle through this iconic circuit today.
30 minutes of practice incoming. We've already had a practice session earlier on today, and it was Mitch Evans who set the quickest time, a 1 minute 30.361, fractionally quicker than Stoffel van Dorn. And then the 2 Maseratis were 3rd and 4th, Max Günther and Eduardo Mortara.
And the green light is on, and free practice number 2 is go, go the go. The cars head out onto the circuit here in Monaco. And fingers crossed we're going to see a very interesting session. Full power lap times is what we want on the board as well. Everybody going 100% of power. That's 350 kilowatts of power used as well. The green flag's getting up Beau Rivage towards Massenet at the top of the hill as well. Formula E car's so tiny, we can actually go through almost 3 wide up Beau Rivage towards Massenet. Keep saying, let's get F1 cars as slim as Formula E. A bit like how they were in the early 2000s, and will be absolutely golden as the flag marshal is waving so far around as well. It's like Pau, this place, Monaco. I know it's the same thing, but Monaco is electric on a proper circuit. Hazel Southwell actually tweeted out earlier on, it's ironic that Formula One is racing on what Formula E would usually race on, which is a car park in the middle of an expensive location, whereas Formula E is on a proper circuit, which is Monaco, because this is an FIA Grade 1 circuit, whether you like it or not. Monaco is Monaco. And now they're coming round. Let's catch up with Dario and Jack then.
Today, 29 lap pace, how to manage all the energy management. The car might actually be better over one lap than over the race as well, with efficiency of the powertrain, but just also the driving technique is quite different for both those disciplines. So if you can win it from pole position, you've really mastered the whole skill set, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming down into Tabac now, the yachts there you can see have to move back a little from the track itself, from the land. That's the word I'm looking for. whenever the cars are on circuit, then through the swimming pool section and out towards La Rascasse, and everybody trying to get a bit of space and a bit of. We think a lot of them are going to do an out lap, a prep lap, and then straight into a push lap. So we'll see whether that ends up being the case. You can still see some of the drivers weaving around a little to try and get some temperature in as they come into the right-hander of Sander Bot. We also saw quite a lot of teams running kind of nose to tail in that first race, in that first practice session, to try and gauge what sort of slipstream advantage you have, because as you say, Dario, those crazy races in Berlin and Sao Paulo that were slipstream central, it's not quite going to be the same this weekend, so the teams need to work out what the benefit is and how important it is to be in the tow.
Yeah, exactly. Berlin, they were talking about 0.1% of energy advantage per lap, and you might think, oh, that's not that much. But around here, it's basically a lap. And the things you would do to gain a lap advantage in energy, it just completely changes the complexion of your race. But you've got to be so close. The closer you can get to the car in front, the bigger the effect is. Unfortunately, you don't know when the car in front's going to lift to regen or lift to brake, so it's very easy to run into the back of them, which is why we've seen so many front wings getting damaged and so many collisions in the previous races.
Yeah, that's very true actually, because that is and you want to be sort of 3 or 4. The more cars, well, here's Rowline's radio.
Let's go again. Push next. Go and push next.
Right, so he's doing a push lap next, but the more cars you're slipstreaming, the better it is, right? But to a point.
No, absolutely. If you can run at the back, you get obviously the biggest slipstream, but then the track positions, you're never going to make that up. I think today, I've been thinking about this quite a lot. He's probably 5th position, but let's watch Championship Lido Pascal Wehrlein as he heads for a
Catch me
lap.
if you can. I like
pretty
that.
Good.
Yeah.
There's the back view. We're going to move around cameras as he does this lap. Look how close he gets to the barrier as he heads up the hill towards Beau Rivage. See this long entry coming up to Massenet. This is where there's such a long entry, a lot of time to be gained or lost in qualifying and the race through Casino Square. Attack mode over to his left. Now heavily downhill. Bit easier to regenerate energy when you're heading downhill. Watch how much lock he has to put in as he comes to the hairpin. There we go, all the way around.
Oh.
You'll see some action there this afternoon. Down the hill, back onto the seafront used to be.
Yeah.
They've built some new apartments through the tunnel. Watch the sunlight, the change of light as he exits the tunnel steeply down here again. Heavy braking for the chicane. Oh, that's a cracking camera, is it not? You see the wing vibrating. Just watch how close he gets to the barriers as he comes.
Yellow turn 5 gone in.
Absolutely skim entry, middle, exit barrier to carry the most speed you possibly can through the swimming pool complex. Not a full push lap by any means here.
Yeah,
it's as much curb as you can. Not too much though, because if the tub hits the curb, you lose the steering and you crash. Coming through the last corner now, using the curb on exit to control it, and that was a lap of the circuit, but 10 different camera views. I've never seen that before. I like that.
Yeah, that was cool.
Trust Dario to keep account on how many camera angles there were in play there as well. Well, the opening times then, Evans who top practice 1, tops practice 2. 1:31, 2:38 as well. Don't forget, it's only 9 a.m. here in Monaco as well. It's 8 a.m. here in the UK where we're commentating from. And it is tiring getting up for a session that isn't usually on. we've sort of changed the format this weekend. Usually free practice 1 is on a Friday now, then Saturday it's practice 2 qualifying the race. Now we're back to how it was originally as well before 2 seasons ago, before COVID actually. Before COVID, it used to be split up. It was all on the same day. Now, since COVID, it's been split up. But today, Monaco, it's practice 1, followed by practice 2, then we go to qualifying, and then we go to the race. It's all the same thing, which gets very, very annoying as Rast, fastest of all in the first sector.
32 points. I think 232 points. I did this calculation on my phone last night. So 232 points still available. So, halfway point in the season, still a lot can happen.
Yeah, and I think the point with Bird for me is that he's got the pace this year. Last year he was having difficult races, would lose his front wing, and I think was maybe struggling to believe in himself. That's a bit too dramatic, but struggling to believe that because the pace wasn't there either. When the pace is there and you're running at the front and you have a crash, you're like, okay, at least my pace is back. Where that wasn't the case last year.
Yeah, he was questioning himself, no doubt about it. And you do, no matter how good you are, you're definitely going to question yourself. A man that was questioning himself, Max Günther, had a terrible start to the season, but that podium in Berlin definitely turned things around. This is a driver's eye view, camera right next to the driver's eye.
Sector 1 and practice attack. Keep pushing sector 1, practice
attack mode. Look how the attack mode is on the exit with that barrier coming up in a hurry. Watch him looking around, looking in the mirrors, turning his head into the apex as he approaches the corner, looking down, moving the dials. Driver workload is incredible in a Formula E car, just constantly adjusting. He's preparing for a lap, I would say. Coming up, just looking at tire temperatures, getting all the dials into the right position for the powertrain.
22 minutes to go as Günther makes his way through the tunnel. But Sasha Fenestraz has just come across the line to go 3rd quickest. Günther is top of the times at the moment. Here is Fenestraz, who's just done a push lap. We'll see what he does this time around as he comes up to the top of the hill. What have you made of Fenestraz this year, Dario? Impressive in qualifying. The race is not quite coming together, but that's kind of true of all of the Nissan powertrains, really.
Yeah, exactly right. How much of it is the powertrain? How much of it is him just learning the intricacies of Formula E? You're absolutely right. His qualifying pace has been spot on, but I think with this championship, whether it was sitting here commentating or watching it from afar, you cannot leave anything on the table. You can't, whether that's you as the driver, the powertrain, the strategy, any of that stuff. You make the slightest mistake and you're at the back. And if you do that a couple of weekends in a row, then the questions are asked immediately. And there's nowhere to hide in this championship. And we've kind of said it from the start, but it is kind of something that people troll out every year. Oh, it gets harder and harder, but it does. It's just the margin for error is less and less, and the competitive side of the drivers, the teams, is ridiculous. Oh, big slide from the Jaguar, Mitch Evans up to Masseny. That's what I was expecting to see.
Yeah, he's just gone quickest, Mitch Evans, on a 1 minute 30.784, but yeah, pushing hard. Askew was saying earlier on this morning how on the edge you are coming up through Masseny, and Evans proving it there for sure.
Yeah, with Masseny, that it's such a long entry, Jack. You're turning for such a long time that you have the opportunity, if you can, to make a bit of time into there. Just playing with a brake, it's not just a brake and turn. And these tyres, these new Hankook tyres, they don't like to do combined turning and braking at the same time. And with the front regen as well, that changes things up a bit. So you've really got to plan out how you're doing that corner and try to find a technique that works to gain some time there.
Here comes Edo Mortara across the line in the Maserati, and it's 3rd fastest for him. In the bottom right, you see Jeremy Calanston on the right-hand side, James Rossiter in the middle, and we've got 19.5 minutes to go. Günther then goes quicker than Mortara and up into 3rd place. Fenestraz has done a reasonable first sector, but Evans is quickest at the moment on that 1 minute 30.784. As Mortara makes his way down the hill, going through attack mode. Behind there was Sebastian Buemi in the Envision. Here is Robin Freitz in the Abt Cupra coming towards Tabak. And how was France's his first free practice session? Wasn't that great, I don't think, for Robin. Oh, it wasn't too bad. No, it was bad. He was a second slower than his teammate Nico Muller. So, but I don't think he went out at the end to do a final push lap. France still getting up to speed with the car, having missed so many races, and the wet kind of became an equaliser for him in Berlin, and he did what Robin does, but I think in the dry conditions he's still playing catch-up a little bit.
Yeah, I think there is a degree of that for him personally, but obviously the powertrain, the Mahindra powertrain, it hasn't worked, and they've struggled with the car setup too, with the AB team coming back into the championship. Yeah, Robin was showing me the scars on his wrist yesterday. Yeah, it's a fairly sizable operation. Yeah, so the recovery from that, it will not be easy. And again, with these cars bouncing them off curbs, with the front regen going on, it's going to be physically quite difficult, I would say.
Yeah, and just picking up on something that SHT has put into the chat before we head back over to the world feed. He says, so the apps didn't look too... I'm going to get my glasses on and read that again, sorry. The apps didn't look that bad at the moment. No, 5 points they scored, of course, last time out in the opener as well in Berlin, the double-header we had there. So they are looking quite strong once again. At the moment, Muller is P6 and we have France P9. So they have got themselves in a very lovely position to be contenders for this weekend. But anything can happen at Monaco, which isn't something we usually say. But right now, with the emphasis we've been having with the Formula E races at this track since we went to the full version, yes, anything can happen at Monaco. And now we have it every single year as well, not just biannually. This has been absolutely brilliant racing. It's been one of the best we've seen of the season. Yeah, it's been one of the best we've seen of the season so far. So I understand that the audio is peaking a little bit, so sorry for hearing things on the track. But yeah, so it's gonna be fantastic. Let's head back over to Dario.
Hole, using too much energy per lap, he was able to lead that race, pull away, and actually gain energy, put himself in a better position. It was mighty performance from Nick Cassidy, and he's put himself into really strong championship position. And Pascal Wehrlein, who came out of the blocks like a sprinter, has struggled a bit more of late.
Cassidy said he learned a lot following Jean-Eric Verne in Hyderabad in those closing laps.
Yeah, that was a masterclass, wasn't it, from Jean-Eric Verne? I mean, just up front, less energy than Cassidy, held on to the lead and actually made energy. And was, yeah, Nick's no fool. And rather than just get upset that he finished second, he learned that whole race and he's used it to his advantage. So he's won so many championships, particularly in Japan. And that mindset of a champion it never leaves you, I would say. And he's always trying to figure stuff out as you see him coming into the pit lane. So yeah, I would not want to be one of his competitors right now, because he's just got that ability to find a way to win a championship.
Fenny fast in first sector. He has done the best of anyone in that sector one. His middle sector's reasonable. He's about 100th away from Sebastian Buemi, who's now at the top of the times in the Envision. Fenestraz comes through, and he goes fastest, a 1 minute 29.788 for the French-Argentinian. And Tommaso Volpe having a little nod, happy with that. He's upstairs in the garages in Monaco. There's sort of an upstairs bit and a downstairs bit. In fact, there's 3 floors, aren't there?
There is.
To the Monaco pit lanes, and it's very interesting to see where different team principals end up kind of positioning themselves. You know, you've got James Rossiter, who's right there in the middle of it in the garage, and Volpe, who's a little more detached, as it were.
I'd want to be in the air conditioning, I think.
15 minutes to go. Here comes Jean-Eric Verne, the aforementioned, and this is going to be a push lap, I think, for Verne, down towards turn 1 at Sanderbot. Climbing up the hill now through Massenet and again through Beau Rivage. He's third in the championship, Verne, very much in the title fight as we go plank cam.
I heard a crunch there as he came through the first corner. I heard a crunch from somewhere. I'm not suggesting it was Jean-Eric touching the barrier, but there was definitely that sort of crunch of carbon fibre. Yeah, there you see Jean-Eric getting a little bit of traffic ahead. This is a point where you're going, please, it's his teammate, so hopefully his teammate Stoffel van Dorn gets out of the way. It's not so far. Unless they're practicing. No, he's getting out of the way. I was going to say let's practicing some slipstreaming. It's good to see Buemi back up the front.
Yeah.
This sort of, he's been a bit reborn this season, hasn't he? He had a terrible season last year, but he's got back on it. His one lap pace has been just incredible.
Yeah, really, really impressive. Verne coming through to back now. His first sector, middle sector, 4 tenths down after the middle sector. So Robin Freit jumps up into 4th position in the apt as Verne comes into the final couple of corners at La Rascasse, and then into Anthony Nogues. And where's this going to slot the Frenchman? Across the line, one here in season 5, 3rd fastest this time around, half a second away from Fenestraz and Buemi. This is Dan Ticktum, who is currently 17th fastest. He's 6 tenths down after the first couple of sectors, and Ticktum goes up into 8th place in the Neo. 13 minutes to go now. That's Cassidy in front of Ticktum. Cassidy was struggling in the first free practice session. Sounded like he had a few sort of battery powertrain kind of issues, which is why he ended up so far down the order. So he'll be looking to have a bit of a cleaner session.
Yeah, I heard them say that on his push lap. They said, oh, slow down, come in the pit, save the powertrain. So I don't know what that was all about.
But he's out there now, still lapping at the moment. He ended up missing ended up having an accident early last year, which he ended up ruining for the rest of the season. I can't remember which one it was or where it was, but that was the reason he then had to take the grid penalty in. Whoa, flying there, Cassidy, into the Nouvelle chicane. And it looked like everyone was trying to kind of get out of each other's way and ended up getting in each other's way.
Yeah, a bit mucky there down to the braking zone. So many cars just sort of flying over each other as well in the braking zone. If you're wondering why I'm not on the Combox camera, it's actually disconnected. The Combox camera isn't actually working at the moment, so the engineers behind the scenes who have been gone out of bed a bit early are trying to fix it for me, because then I can concentrate on watching the session. Seemed Acosta coming across the line now with a 134, 145. Does he move up at least? No, he stays exactly in 22nd position. Buemi also looking fast. Also, I'm having to use a handheld microphone, so we've got a few technical failures up here in the commentary box in this second practice session. Everything went off after we threw it back to them, so hopefully things will get sorted shortly, but in the meantime that's why we've got Dario and Jack around as well to fill in the blanks for us. Across the line then comes Sebastian Buemi. He's second at the moment, but with the top time in first 2 sectors, and third sectors are different. Buemi goes top with a 1:29.679. Here comes Jake Dennison across it. He is 19th at the moment, goes into third with a 1:29.870. Let's head back over to Dario and Jack.
Quite a second, about 7 tenths of a second quicker than free practice 1, so the lap times are dropping. 10.5 minutes to go. Here comes Evans through the final turn at Anthony Nogues. He's currently 5th fastest, Mitch Evans. He's 7 tenths down on this lap, so I don't think this will be an improvement for Evans. It is, but by a 1/10 of a second or so, so he remains in 5th place, doesn't gain a huge chunk of time as he now climbs up the hill through Beau Rivage. The McLaren behind starting a lap. I think that was René Rast coming into the first corner. Lotterer goes 6th fastest, and Lotterer looked a little better in free practice 1 earlier today. Here's Van Dorn, personal bests in sectors 1 and 2, but still 1.1 seconds down, so this is going to be a huge lap for Van Dorn. Might squeak into the top 10. Oh, Rascasse looks so tricky in these cars.
Yeah, exactly right. Just that understeer again, and if you're trying to regenerate through the front axle, yeah, it's not an easy thing to get right. Van Dorn only P10 jet.
Yeah, 1.1 seconds off the pace of Buemi. Here's Gunter, who pushed in the first sector, but then has backed off, I think. So Gunter pushed in sector 1, but maybe a bit of traffic somewhere in the middle sector, so ends up 8 seconds off the pace on that lap, and looks as though he's doing a double pull. Mortara, his teammate, very much pushing, arriving now into the Nouvelle chicane. Out towards to back for Mortara. still hasn't had the strongest of seasons, 20th in the standings, so he's got 5 points this year, basically the least points of anyone, bar the two apps drivers who are never really in points contention. So a frustrating one for Ed Mortara, considering he's been in the title fight the last few years.
Yeah, it just looks massively frustrating for the whole Maserati team. I think the picture of James Rossiter with head in hands has been played many a time this season, but it was great to see that recovery with the podium for Max Günther in Germany, and nowhere like your home race to have a good result. And this is the Maserati MSG's home race. And today they could definitely have a big result. Two great drivers and a good team.
Stoffel Van Dorn through the final turn, and he was only 11th quickest last time. He's doing a double push here, so he'll chip away a bit of time. Goes up into 5th place, 7/10 adrift of Sebastian Buemi. You can see from the times there on the left-hand side, there's a big gap from Buemi, Fenestraz and Dennis back to Verne in 5th. Evans has just done a good first sector. We've got the running clock on him down at the bottom. Da Costa starting a lap now. Suddenly with less than 8 minutes to go, it's all getting very busy. We're with Evans coming through the tunnel.
This is the point, you've got to have a lot of confidence in those around you, your competitors, because you're approaching, they might be on a cool-down lap, and you're absolutely hot in the middle. You're pushing as hard as you can. Some of these corners completely blind, so they can't see in the mirror, and you can't see around the corner when somebody's going slowly. So it's, it's not for the faint-hearted, these practice sessions.
Evans 600s down after the middle sector, through the swimming pool. Plenty of movement on the wheel from Evans as he made his way into the exit of the swimming pool.
Yeah,
bit of traffic here.
Not really like Mitch. Normally he's got very smooth style, but you can just see he's just chasing the rear of the car as he enters the swimming pool. Just sort of those micro inputs, just controlling the slide at the back end. See how it stands up. Oh, P1.
1 minute 29.584 for Mitch Evans, a 10th quicker than Sebastian Buemi. Wehrlein goes up into 6th place in the Porsche. His teammate is Da Costa in 19th place at the moment. Da Costa is coming into the final turn now, and it's not really. It's a personal best in the first sector for the Portuguese. The middle sector's not that great. Does he jump up the order at all? Da Costa goes up into 9th place, so a second away from Mitch Evans, but only 3/10 slower than his teammate Pascal Wehrlein, and definitely time to find there in the middle sector for the race winner here in season 7. With 6 minutes and 15 seconds to go all of a sudden. This session's flown by, actually.
Yeah, absolutely right. And these guys they're sort of, where's the grip level? That's what they're trying to do. They're learning the grip level. They're obviously working on car setup, but for qualifying, where can I push that little bit more? Where have I pushed too far? And just getting that sort of muscle memory ready for the qualifying laps and group qualifying coming up in pretty short order here. But if you haven't managed to do a proper qualifying lap, you're going into the unknown a bit in some of these corners, and that is not a position you want to be in for qualifying, because as close as it's going to be, that can just knock you out of the qualifying stages.
Well, one of those drivers is Nick Cassidy, still in the pits, 1.7 seconds off the pace of Mitch Evans. He was 2 seconds off earlier on, and he's complaining on the radio about massive vibrations under braking. So not good news for Nick Cassidy, the driver who suddenly looked like he was going to be taking the title fight to Pascal Wehrlein. Long way to go still, but he hasn't had a proper push lap today yet. Here is Buemi.
You would normally say, Jack, in a traditional car, it's a brake disc is out of round, or so change the discs and off you would go. But with this, with massive vibration, I would be asking, is it the front axle or the rear axle? Because it's obviously the motor regenerating is probably causing that vibration. And that's not an easy fix, not with the amount of time we've got before qualifying.
Here's Nico Müller. Reasonable first 2 sectors, actually, for Müller. 4/10 down on Evans as he comes now into the chicane.
Yeah, the car balance looks good. Oh, a bit of a little flick of oversteer. That helped get rid of the understeer, just that flick into the corner apex. You hear the tyre chirping. He missed the last corner, though.
Müller across the line then, and it is an improvement. Still for 6th quickest, despite that fairly scrappy final sector. Lost 0.3 of a second compared to those around him, but Müller jumps up into 6th spot with 4 minutes and 12 seconds left on the clock.
Cassidy's left the pits.
Okay, all eyes on Nick Cassidy then in the Envision to see whether he gets a final push lap in and how quick it is. Here's Ed.
Yeah, Cassidy's down in 22nd position. He's 1.7 seconds off the pace at the moment, so he has time to find out there. Mortara, however, personal best sectors 1 and 2. Can definitely find something if he's going to push Adam Anthony Noakes up towards the line now. Is Mortara going to improve from 13th? 5th! With a 1:29.897.
Nico Muller. Gunther's done a good first sector. Here comes Sam Bird. He's 4 tenths down after the first 2 sectors. He's got a car ahead of him as he comes out across the line. It is Jake Dennis. Bird goes 6th fastest, half a second off his teammate Mitch Evans, who's still in the pits. We saw him being rolled back into the garage a few moments ago. Might be happy enough with his run and not leave the pits again. Gunther here looking down at his wheel as he comes into the back. After the middle sector, what's Gunther doing? He's 2 tenths down after the middle sector.
Some interesting noises going on the brakes when the front motor comes in to regenerate.
Through Anthony Noakes. And across the line. Gunther goes fastest. 1:29.488, a 10th quicker than Mitch Evans, who has left the pit lane. He is on an app lap now then. Cassidy is on a prep lap by the looks of things. Sete Camara jumps up into 3rd place. It's been a while since Sete Camara has challenged at the front of the order, or at least, you know, had good qualifying pace. Did make it into the duels in Berlin, but that was the first time in about 4 races that I think he managed to do that. His teammate Dan Tipton goes up into 9th place in the Neo. Dennis has done the fastest first sector of anyone by a couple of tenths of a second. Stoffel Van Dorn is up after the middle sector also. This is the DS Penske man we're watching as he comes across the line and he goes 4th fastest. Stoffel Van Dorn, a 1:29.642. Here comes Dennis. Quickest, 1:29.413 for Jake Dennis. And he's a driver who finished 2nd in the last race after not scoring points for 4 races in a row. If Dennis finishes the race in the points, he's 1st or 2nd. That's been his whole season. So he either's 1st or 2nd, or he doesn't score any points. Here comes Verline, the championship leader. He's 3 tenths down after the first couple of sectors. So maybe a top 10 incoming here from Verline, but not much more than that. Out across the line, and it is 13th fastest.
I wonder how much of that was due to the rush hour traffic that he encountered. How much of it was just lack of car pace. You see Da Costa 16th at the moment. He's a personal best through the first 2 sectors, but he's 6 tenths off. Nice.
Testing. Yep. All working now. We're back up. We're running. Yeah. Well done to the guys. Got it going. I was desperate for them to get it fixed at the last minute. They've done it. So, Da Costa coming into the... Oh, he's backed off. He's going to go for 1 more push lap. Next time around, I was wondering why he was going so slow. He wants to go for an ultra push lap, and he's going for it now. 30 seconds left then in this 2nd practice session for the Monaco E-Prix. Dennis top 1:29.413. Gunther 2nd, Evans 3rd. On board with Mitch Evans. It's just the fastest first sector of anybody. SHT says Cassidy's been on great form in these 5 races. The fact that he is 39 points ahead of Buemi in the standings as well, absolutely, and he can get himself into contention as well for this championship. On board with Evans. You can hear his mic. Yeah, see, look, the mic cutting out there. Did you hear it? Chris, I was saying about Evans cutting out. I don't know how much of that you heard then coming through. I'll say then Cassidy has been going on great form in these 5 races. The fact that he's 39 points ahead of Buemi in the standings as well. That's from SHT. Evans to the top, 1:29.276. Might pick a winner, might be actually safe. Evans tops both practice sessions. Gunther's in 3rd though. Can he find anything on the board? Anything with the time? Out of the last corner, nearly touches the rear of the car to the Anthony Noakes barriers. Gunther goes top by 7 thousandths of a second. Oh wow! Maserati top position. Evans is defeated in practice. Sete Camera stays, I think, in 4th. Yep, does so. Dan Ticktum in the Neo is fastest of all in the middle sector and is approaching the line now. Is he going to go fastest of all? 10th. 5/10 down on the overall time, unfortunately. Neo 333 don't know what to do there. They don't know how to look. They don't know how to respond. Hughes, Frines, Dennis, last across the line. Yellow flags. Dennis crosses it. They've all done it. They've all crossed the line. Session over. And it's Gunther topping. Wow. Okay, let's get the full results then. It is Gunther fastest, 1:29.269. Evans is 7,000th off the pace. Then Dennis, Sete Camera, Van Dorn, the top 5. Bird, Boemi, Fenestras, Vern, Ticktum, top 10. Lottery 11. Mortara 12. Muller 13th. Verline 14th. Hughes 15th. Then we get NATO 16th, DaCosta 17th, Rast 18th, Frines 19th, Degrassi 20th, and Cassidy 21st, with Roland 22nd. Right, that's it then for practice. Gunther topped FP2, FP1 was topped by Evans. Who's going to top qualifying? Find out. We're on air, 9:35 British Summer Time, 10:35 in Europe. Join us then for all of the action from the Monaco E-Prix qualifying session. Bye-bye for now.